Hello, and welcome to another session of San Francisco by Night, Hunter the Vigil. We now focus on two individuals tonight, a one Nathaniel Banks, and one who only knows himself as Abel. We start with Mr. Banks, a man of, shall we say, many talents, but compared to some of the other characters he hangs around with, a man who blends into the background, does not stand out, a man who is very professional. But his professionalism makes him blank compared to some of the others. Much more quiet and resolved than a few. What is this man's story? Where did he come from? How did he get his unique talents? Well, perhaps we'll find out. Mr. Banks, what are you doing at your home right now?
And he would be home. He has a pretty healthy sense of separation between work and his apartment. It's a very quiet apartment. There's a number of electronic pieces of equipment around it. It seems he likes to keep busy in his spare time. But otherwise,
Not much.
he's mostly going through cleaning his equipment, trying to make a decision, I guess, on what he wants to believe just yet.
Indeed, Mr. Nathaniel has seen quite a bit in the last few weeks. Is it anything extreme as to what he's already seen before, or is this a new take?
Given the amount of enhancement humans have gone through, some of the things have been surprising, but so far I don't think he's seen anything he couldn't explain.
Indeed. Nathaniel has had an interesting life. A life of reason, but a life of hardship. Part of that hardship was the reason he's in what he is now, and doing what he's doing now. There is a knock on the door.
Well, I'm going to assume there's some kind of camera out there.
There is. At first, you don't recognize the man, standing in a fairly similar get-up that you do. But then you start to slowly recognize his face. This man was known as Watcher. You never knew his real name, only his code name. This was a man often responsible as the eye in the sky for you, your radio contact, your aide, your watcher. A man who worked with you on many missions.
He was a handler then.
Yes.
Now, was that only for Nathan's goings abouts, or were there others? Or was he ever told?
You were never told, but he worked with you. You know that much.
All right. Handgun goes back in the belt. All right, calm down. And he'll go to the door.
Go to the door. Do you open it?
Yes.
You open it. Watcher is a very bland man, brown hair, a little bit of a slick front, so to speak. Where the hair is just a little bit longer in the very front than the rest of it. He has a very standard-looking suit on, very much like the one you wear. And he has what looks like in 2077, there were these hoods that just go on, and they're not hoodies, but they just like latch onto your shoulders, and you can kind of drape them over your suit and head to make sure things don't get as wet. And he's got one of those on, and he flicks it back.
Ah, it's a bit
He's
of a
like,
poncho.
"Hello, Mister. Hello, Mister Banks. It's been a while."
Well, I can only call you by the name I've known you for about the 5 years we worked together. Watcher, how are you?
Indeed, I am fine, and I know that we are at a slight disadvantage at me knowing your name and you not knowing mine, but I will tell you at least my first name, Jake.
Well, if you wanted me dead, Jake, I have a feeling you wouldn't have knocked on my front door.
Indeed, if I wanted you dead, there are many other opportunities I have had.
So he'll try to shake his hand.
Shake your hand. Nothing seems to be fishy or off about it. I
No
was wondering if
strange
you and I
signals
could
coming
have
from
a...
him either.
Nope. He has no signals on him whatsoever except his phone, and his phone is off.
You either have very advanced bugs, or you're clean.
Well, indeed. And he says, look at the newcomer. Analyze. Check for weapons. What's in his pockets? What are his mannerisms? What signals are coming from him? Is his eye twitching? Where is he looking? All things you have to take into account. Well done. But no, I am not bugged right now. It is just me, my phone, and my sidearm. Do you wish for me to hand you my weapon? Would that make you feel more comfortable?
I'm comfortable, Watcher. Merely curious. Like you said, being aware kept me alive.
Indeed. Kept you alive for quite a bit of things. There were a couple times there I thought we had lost you.
I suppose now I'm being rude. Would you like to come in?
Please.
And he'll open the door a little bit more, and
He walks in, shakes off the poncho a bit, hangs it up,
there.
goes and sits down at your table very politely. You notice that in your professional training, his eyes are very focused on you, but you can tell that he is taking everything in. Like he's making little subtle observations here and there.
Oh, that's
This
nothing
this
out of
this
the ordinary.
this guy is really good at it.
I'm going to, well, you mentioned his expressions already. He's obviously, he says he's here to talk to me, and every expression seems to be showing that he's here to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, that's expected. So yeah, he'll join him at the table. He wouldn't want anything to drink.
Oh, water's fine.
You must be here for work after all. And he'll pour himself some water, and he'll pour himself something slightly alcoholic.
Partially personal, partially business. Shall I do the personal or business first?
Well, it's only right that after a year, I guess it is now, we'll get personal matters out of the way.
Good. I was hoping you'd say that. First question, how have you been?
I'm alive. The
That is always a
follow-up
good sign.
the follow-up treatments have been mostly on schedule.
Have you had any problems with your implants?
No.
Are you getting your serum daily? Or at least when you're supposed to be?
Oh, come on. Oh, come now. We both know I don't take it daily.
I don't know. I would assume that you would have done several jobs after leaving under my watch, and perhaps you would need more enhancements. The more enhancements one needs, the more serum one needs.
So far, I've been able to hold off on it. Not that. Well, that's beside the point.
Of course. Well then. I take it you have a new line of work that you've started here? I do not know who precisely you are engaged with, but I see that your account has had quite a few numbers added to it.
Yes, I've found work.
Good. That's good to hear. I actually came to ask you if you wanted to work with me on a job.
And he's feeling a little bit conflicted at the moment. A little, well, maybe more confused than conflicted. Well, Jake, you have me at a disadvantage. Here I thought the agency had plenty of talent they could come to. I certainly wasn't the only person.
No, but you are one of the best. And I trust your judgment, I trust your skills, and you are a good person to work with.
Okay, all the buttering up is nice, but I mean, out with it. Are you looking for someone who hasn't been seen before? Or are you just looking for someone you can trust?
Both. I'm looking for someone who knows what they're doing. Trust is a hard word. In the end, I haven't trusted anyone in a long time. But I do trust your skills, per se. And I do trust your judgment. No offense if I don't trust you. Like I said, I have not trusted anyone in a long time.
No, that's fine. Suppose I was talking about the ability to get it done, whatever it might be.
Well, it has something to do with an old military facility under San Francisco. Made back during the war.
So you're divulging classified information to me now.
I am.
Interesting. Okay. So we have a decommissioned, I'm assuming, facility beneath the city.
Yes.
And Nathan is already taking notes.
Apparently there was something activated down there after years of being out of commission. It's an older technology, so most of the advanced security sweeps cannot get down there. It has a very advanced security system, at the time, anyway. I am acting as cleanup.
Someone turned on the lights when they shouldn't have, and you want us to turn them back off again.
That is correct. Deactivate any protocols that may have been engaged, wipe the security system, leave it as was. Hopefully none of the weapons down there have been activated.
I'll take a guess. Most of them are still projectile driven.
Still dormant, yes. What do you mean projectile driven? Oh, yes. Some of them, yes.
Oh, great.
Perhaps your new associates may send you down there anyway. It is starting to draw attention of some other organizations. And my employers are very interested in what is happening down there.
But the decommissioned military tech, I wouldn't see common thugs finding a way in there, but well, who knows? Maybe they got someone to hack their way in.
You may be surprised. This new organization calling themselves the Power Corps is very well equipped and very well organized, despite supposedly being a runoff, wannabe terrorist organization. They are a lot better equipped and more well funded than you might think. They've also proven to be very well organized. is proving very hard to lock them down by most of the police companies. Even some advanced military black bag operations have failed to get some of them.
Turn off the lights, make sure they stay turned off. All right.
Personal question. How do you feel about your new associates, your new employers?
Honestly, it's familiar.
It is indeed.
They send me after people who do bad things. They pay me pretty well for it.
Indeed. I think I watched that incident on the news with the coffee shop. I take it you were involved in that.
I haven't been blown up in a long time. He made a show of it.
So it would seem. But I take it that is a yes to.
Yes, I was involved.
Good,
I
good.
don't know if they
As
I don't know if they were targeting me or if they were just targeting whoever was in the shop at the time, but I was there.
I see. And I also see that your new associates may actually ask you to go down there. Perhaps I can kill two birds with one stone. Yes, that's about right. And now you can pick up a little bit of a signal coming from him. It seems to be just a phone signal or a communication signal. Yes, understood. I'll ask him. Very well. If you are to go down there, can I add some things onto your list of things to do for whatever your employers wish you to do down there? And depending upon what they ask you to do, we will act as accordingly.
So far, they have been pretty clear about extermination.
Right.
So if you're asking me to wipe out some systems while I'm down there, that shouldn't be a problem.
That would be good. If they tell you to kill things, kill whatever you need to. But if you can leave there and wipe the system while you're at it, that would be an add-on. Now comes the business part. Unfortunately, I really hate to do this to you. It is not professional, nor do I find it appealing. They did it to me as well. Nathaniel Banks, keyword automatophobia, Thresh Protocol, Phase 1. Deactivate. Mr. Banks, would you roll me 1d10, please?
Oh, implants are a bitch. I mean, if he's trying to knock him out, and then he has going on.
This is a unique thing. This is just for.
Well, that's not a success.
Okay, so it would have had to be a 10. Banks. You feel a little bit hazy, and all of a sudden you lose all functionality of talking, moving, with exception of basic breathing, and you can hear, but you cannot speak. Your entire system locks up, except for sight, sound, and not even touch. Right, let's go over some exercises. Stand. You stand up. Turn around. You turn around. Turn back to me. You turn back to him. Draw your weapon. Aim. You draw your weapon and aim it right at him. Very well. Put your weapon away. You put the weapon away. there's a weird static you hear in your ear, and it kind of fades away, and your vision goes black. Your sound and sight go just completely out, and then your eyes, you seem to gain vision again, and you gain hearing. Right, that should do. Revert to phase 0. You can talk now.
Now, I don't know how much of that he's going to remember. They don't normally remember any of that.
You remember when he shut you down, but when your vision went black, you have no idea how long you've been standing there. However, you do remember him standing up and saying that, and all of a sudden that happening to you. You remember the whole conversation in the kitchen.
And how much of that was business exactly?
As I said, I'm sorry. I have no choice in this matter. I had to make sure that you would be guaranteed. We have to take certain protocols.
Look, if they're not happy about my being out of the program, they could hire me again.
You are being hired and you are being paid. This is just a guarantee. Your new associates are questionable. They may have brainwashed you or taken control of you. This is our standard procedure.
Yeah, they're questionable, all right. I can't argue there.
Indeed. Once again, I am sorry. This has been done to you multiple times already in the past. This is the third time I've had to do this to you, and it's regrettable. You will be sent mission details later.
So this means you're watching me again?
Yes.
Or maybe you never stopped. I suppose it doesn't matter.
For the first time that you've ever worked with this man, you see the very slightest crook of a smile come on his right side. See, Mr. Banks, that right there is why there's always someone watching you.
I understand that maybe not everyone you chose for your program was a good fit. And I get it. I'm a good fit. I don't mind.
Understood.
You're just waiting and worrying about the time that I do mind. Yeah.
They invested more into you than you think.
I suppose I wouldn't know. Now would I?
Maybe you would. Maybe you've just forgotten. Or maybe we've erased that memory. Well, that's the thing about memories is you can never truly get rid of them. They're always there, locked away.
It, I'll accept the apology. And once again, I will formally make a statement that half of this shit is not necessary.
That's what I said as well. Unfortunately, the higher ups. Well,
The higher ups enjoy pushing their buttons. I get it.
yeah.
All right.
They did the same thing to me. I am under control here to be here. I must do this. I have no other choice. That is the one thing I regret most. No choice. There always should be a choice.
Of course there was a choice. I saw in the papers, didn't I?
Yeah, so did I.
All right. I guess they're going to send me a little checklist of things that they want me to take care of down there.
Yes, so to speak.
It's been a long time since I got to sweep a mess under the rug. I might
Be
just
very
enjoy
careful down
myself.
there. You will receive information on possible things that are down there, however, will be vague. But what we know about the research down there was advanced weapons and biological warfare. We're not entirely sure what's down there. But there was an incident. One of the weapons was unleashed on a small mining facility in South Africa back when the war was going on to try and sabotage the rebels. There was no survivors, however, friendly fire was initiated. The target was misled, and both sides lost heavy casualties. The rest of the information will be sent later. I do not know the other details of it. But be very careful down there.
All right.
Threat protocol phase 0 activated. You can move now.
You kind of.
Details of the Thresh protocol are as follows. You can not tell anyone of our conversation we've had here. And there are certain things you will not be able to do, certain individuals you will not be able to act against. That I cannot tell you.
Suppose I'll find out when I try to pull the trigger.
Perhaps. I assure you there will be nothing down there that you can't pull the trigger on.
Well, if they want to be vague, that's for the best.
Indeed, you will receive details in your personal PDA, probably within the fortnight. Any parting words, Mr. Banks?
For what it's worth, I'm glad you seem to be doing okay.
Yeah, as this okay comes. Picks up his poncho and nods at you. He looks up at your clock. Then he looks back at you and gives the slightest of nods, and then leaves.
Nathan's gonna close the door after him, lock it, and then go get a drink that's a little bit stronger.
You do so. And I will get that information to you when I can. So, with that scene being over, we now pan to a room with a lot of symbols and writing on it. Abel knows this room very well. It's been lighted up a bit with a lot more cushions and a better bed and some entertainment. What is Abel doing right now?
Abel is actually currently sat in the middle of the room, his weapon fully unfurled and revealed. He just kind of seems to be holding it, staring at it, running a finger over the red edges of the blackened blade. He almost seems unfocused, as if giving the blade a thousand yard stare.
The blade is indeed black and worn. Indeed, the blade is black and worn.
He doesn't really know what to make of it. He just tries to hold it up for a moment, almost put it right to his eyes, trying to see if he can see anything of that darkness of the material.
It's almost like looking into a black mirror, or a mirror that's been shimmered. It's difficult to see inside, but you can still see a bare hint of reflection looking back out at you. But just a reflection.
Abel gets off a bit of a sigh and puts the blade down for a moment. He stands up and starts pacing the room, seeming uneasy as he drags the weapon around. Oddly enough, on one of the couches, that old collar he had always been wearing is there. He'd requested it, just as a comfort.
Indeed, no memories return after that. It's been quite an interesting night. Quite an interesting week. You've seen a lot in the last week. You were told that you were a John Doe, someone with no identity, no memory. And for some reason, this new, strange aspect of yourself, no one has told you anything yet. They've tried to explain some things, but in the end, you've been told that you are what is known as an enhanced human, an experiment they've been doing. So then what was the voice? What do you hear? Why do you still hear whispers? And why is it that you have a small memory of a garden somewhere? But you don't remember much about the garden except it had roses. Lots of roses. And that's all you remember. Thorns. Roses. Thorns wrapping around you, cutting into you, biting into your flesh. And then the memory is no more.
Kane almost seems to gasp for air for a moment after the memory is gone, putting a hand to his body, quickly feeling himself over, and his fingers stop at the various markings upon his body. To most, it just feels like normal flesh, but to him, he can almost feel like his fingers sink into the red. He's not sure why. He simply turns to try to stare at one of the walls where he'd drawn the garden, or at least that's what he understood those symbols as. It would be quite hard to recognize the roses out of all the squiggles.
Indeed, a lot of artwork is strewn about the room. Strangely enough, these symbols in your body seem to match some of the symbols you have drawn on the walls. Seems to be the only thing you really truly remember. However, you do remember the feeling of the sun on your skin. For some reason, that memory seems to stick out more than others. Wherever you were, it was very hot. But you're not entirely sure where or when.
As if responding to that memory of the sun, he kind of just turns to look up at the light above. It's not really the same, but at least it didn't hurt his eyes that much. Idly, he puts a hand up towards it, holding out the spot with his fingers spread. He looks at one of the symbols on the back of his hand, and then levels it towards one of the walls, slowly panning, trying to find where it fit.
You find a small space where it fits. The sun surrounded by odd symbols that you don't recognize. And then some other symbols that you don't recognize, that you don't remember drawing there. The Nordic symbol for power. You don't remember drawing those. The Greek word for Athena. The Roman god of Mars. Christianity and Catholic quotes all around.
He slowly walks up and places his hand upon the spot, trying to match his skin upon the drawings upon the wall.
When you touch near the runes of power area, in other words, the Nordic and Greek writing, you feel warmth come from them.
You raised an eyebrow at this. This was new. And it may be a lead. He looks at his blade and slowly brings it up as well, also bringing it to the Nordic rune.
The blade grows fairly warm. It is not over yet.
He blinks and quickly looks about the room, as if searching for somebody, anybody. But he doesn't see anyone.
In the room.
Yeah, since he doesn't see anyone, he just turns back to the blade. Out loud, though in a low voice, he asks, "What are you?"
There is no response.
This almost frustrates him, but it's done that too many times before, so he just lets it go. He stares at the rune some more, before trying to bring the tip of the blade towards it.
You bring the tip of the blade towards it, and you see the runes start to go and surround you. The room starts to twist, turn, and spin. Your vision goes black. Get in here. No, I'll find.
Abel sits quiet, trying to listen to the faint voice. Almost scared, like he'd scare it away if he spoke.
A choice will come. Will you choose the path of blood? Will you choose the path of damnation? Which will you choose when it comes, I wonder? Such a pity. You were my best. But I took fate out of your hands. I hope someday you'll forgive me for that.
He just utters a single word. Who?
The other. The other Dave Walker.
The other. But that doesn't answer anything. Unless you, Kane?
No response.
After a moment, Abel almost feels ridiculous having asked that. It would be way too odd.
Indeed, after all, we're an experiment, soldiers, so to speak, of this Section 9, but they have answers you need and resources you need. So, we'll do as they ask. Perhaps you will find the answers you seek in time.
Perhaps. But until then, Abel will just try to help. It's in his nature, after all. Seems like the right thing to do.
Reap what you sow, people. For we have much plans for you.
Plans?
You feel a searing pain in your back. And your head starts to buzz and vibrate. And it seems like you vibrate out of existence. And then it slowly subsides, and you are in the room again, curled up in the blanket in the middle of the floor, holding the sword. The runes of power and all of the writing on the walls is gone.
Abel just breathes heavily, trying to get over the feeling of the pain, trying to get the dizziness out of his head, and he slowly looks around, trying to make sure that it was all gone.
The door opens up and Mr. X steps in. Abel, are you okay?
Uh, yes, I am. I am all right, he says. He at
How do you
least
feel?
lost.
Yes, I understand. We'll have another mission to send you out on it. I don't know. I mean, it might give you some answers. It may not. It's an old military facility. We're going to send you and a few others down into to ensure that those who have broken in do not know anything and that they are possibly eliminated because they are evil people. And the technology down there cannot be allowed to reach the surface. However, there was some information I found that there might be genetic altering down there. That may be a clue as to where you came from.
I see. Well, I'd be happy to help. Is
Good.
what? Well, what can I find down there?
I do not know what we'll find, but we'll be with you every step of the way. Come, let's get you something to eat. It's lunchtime.
Oh, oh, all right. He says,
You
starting to.
notice that you notice that the rune on your hand is glowing red, but Mr. X doesn't seem to see it.
Abel looks at his hand for a moment as he starts to walk towards Mr. X, and turns back to her room to stare at the walls once more.
There is no writing on them. They are blank. Did you even write anything on them at all?
Abel
knows?
turns Abel turns back to look at Mr. X. He doesn't know what to make of his lack of reaction.
Doesn't seem to be reacting to it at all.
Abel doesn't let his face betray his feelings. He just turns to go with Mr. X. It was alright. Every time this happened, he just needed to start again.
He just pats you on the shoulder and you both walk towards the cafeteria. And that's where we'll have the scene fade. Thank you players for playing. Thank you watchers for watching. This has been another San Francisco by Night, Hunter the Vigil. I will talk with you all later.